Okay, hello everybody. Hello. Let's give it a few seconds more. Let's get more people to join. I hope you can hear me. Okay, all working correctly. Okay, everything's fine. So check quickly the comments we have. Andres, thanks for the running tournaments. I'll leave that comment up. As you might know, we are in the process of getting released the tournament pack. So something which was extremely anticipated by the retailers, not only. So this is something which is coming this month. You have probably seen it, and I've seen it. You have shared it on the Facebook as well. So that is coming. Okie dokie. I really hope you have your coffee ready. I have some updates about the NL counters, which shipping started today. Fields of Eternia shipping, which is coming very soon, as soon as we have the trucks offloaded here, which is beginning of March. And then a little bit about Heroes 3 and Deus Lab. And towards the end, we will talk a little bit about Tradeshow we attended to, which was extremely interesting. First time on the toys fair. On a trade shows where we were not selling anything, but just basically being there. So, with the products to show, how big is Tarask? You know, my head is quite large, but Tarask is that big. So next to my head, I got the balloon head, so maybe this is not. What I can put next to it to show you how big this Tarask is, basically maybe some other 28mm. Oh, that's 32. That's something like smaller 32mm model. This is how big it is. It's huge. It's extremely and it's massive, and I'm really happy for this model to be finally in this form, so plastic form. There's a story behind that model, but if you remember, one of the questions from one of the Yamaha about a few months ago was, what was the most challenging bit? That was the most challenging bit, to make this into plastic. And the story behind it is that we always throw something interesting for my team to actually learn the skill. That's the best way, right, to learn it. You throw your guys into let's say deep water and ask them to swim. Yeah, so that's what we do always. We just finding challenge, something which is challenge. Yeah, it's a part of fake it till you make it, but I was 100% confident that we were gonna get that model. And yeah, so I just say last week to my team that at this stage I don't know what next, because I'm just running out of ideas. What else I can give them to sweat a little bit. But I don't know, we'll see. I've got, as always, presentation for you. Well, if you have some ideas what next you would wanted to see from us in terms of plastic and what potentially could be a challenge to our team, drop me some ideas. Okay. So a few slides. Let me just clear. Where's my face? There's my face. Okay, I'm here. Okay. Got that. So quickly regarding shipping. So shipping started. All parcels should be out within 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks. We should have all the parcels out. I've got that picture from production for you, just to show you how many boxes we have just done it last week alone, couple days, just to get everything out. Finally, we got nice and proper boxes, so everything will be spot on. Haven't shown you the warehouse. The warehouse is totally loaded, like up to the roof, so there's no room. Every single gangway between the racks is full, as well as stock. So we really have to get this one out of the warehouse to receive the shipping from China for Masters of the Universe, Fields of Eternia. So Encounters is going out. First wave shipping just started today. We should get the first comments next week about the receiving of the parcels, and then next week we assume we're gonna have at least 1,000, maybe 1,500 parcels out, and then it will ramp up to more and more and more. Usually, how we start shipping is we get like a sample batch ship out, and the sample batch is just in case, that to make sure that everything in our paperwork is correct. I know this is not the best approach, but this is how we do that. This is how we do shipping. So yeah. So not much to say about it. That it is coming. Obviously, thank you for being with us with encounters. Thank you for being with us with Dungeons and Lasers Kickstarters and GameFound projects. We're really getting better at it. We're really getting better at making models in miniatures thanks to you, because without those projects we wouldn't be able to engineer everything and get the guys to actually train to the level they are currently trained at. So I need to mention something about the February releases. I have something extra to show you, which you haven't seen it yet, and that will be for the Masters of the Universe Battleground. So let me start with February releases. We plan to release, well, no, this is basically scheduled to release for this month on 26th. You should see that in stores. We're actually shipping this one currently to retailers, so they're going to have enough time to distribute that for the release date. So we've got sewer set. Additionally, with sewer set, you're going to get a miniature. So you might remember the Noble miniature we included in one of the Kickstarters. This is going to be available also with this set. Now, with that set, we also releasing Fantasy props pack, 109 pieces in there. That's quite good, to be honest. The pack, well, the content in there is quite good, and it's lined up with this release and the previous releases perfectly. Then we have a city streets. They're fully modular, so this is exactly the same systems where like with Dungeons and Lasers. So it just create extension to anything you want. If you want to do like city stuff inside the inside your dungeons, yeah, go for it. You may go for it for that one as well. But the city wasn't enough without any building, so we decided to actually release as well the Woodhaven Cottage. So we start with the Woodhaven Cottage. We have some great ideas on a trade show. We come up with a great idea. Maybe what we should do with some of the Woodhaven stuff is create a large pack, like a castle pack. So stay tuned, because I think this is gonna be green lighted, and next release we plan to get something big, like we had like stone walls and dreams and everything else, and all of that bits, which you might you're gonna be able to construct huge castle with it. And yeah, so something which we plan for the next quarter release. Then obviously with it we needed to release straight away the City Bits bundle. This is 93 pieces bundle. You get everything to populate your streets, like an extra lamp, extra pieces, bits of and bobs. Then also roofs. So for those hardcore Dungeon Lasers customers, we have also roofs if you need them to go along with your buildings. And that's it for this month Dungeons and Lasers releases. It's quite large release, to be honest, this month. Quite challenging in terms of making all the boxes and everything else, but I think we pull it off. What next? Next is the Rampart Modular Terrain, and this time round we have Kazumi Temple. Kazumi Temple is something which many people ask for, and they were waiting for it. Now, if you remember, I mentioned this one a few videos ago, a few ago, that we lost files and we couldn't find it. Finally, we find the files, and finally we managed to do tiny corrections to the files in order to get those things into production. So here we have Rampart Modular Terrain, very nice set, 148 different pieces of terrain with all the several sprues of props and so on. Great for the wargaming, great for D&D as well. So if you're looking into doing some kind of ruin temple ride or something like that. Let me check the questions. I can see some questions actually popping up here. Right, I mentioned earlier how big is Tarex. I show you. I've got one more picture later to show you how big it is. What else? Yes, Bandai is doing something extremely good, which is the push fit stuff. We have been looking into push fit. We actually did first push fit models and miniatures, and with the encounters, especially for some of the trees, and those elements are fully push fit. The push fit meant to be introduced with Battleground as well, so Master of the Universe Battleground. But the release schedule didn't allow us to actually engineer this one. Engineering for the push fit takes a much longer time than for the normal cutting, because during the cutting of the miniature you have to spend more time thinking how all the push fit will work. So at this stage we said, okay, we will carry on as it is, but we'll have plans for some products in the future that are going to be 100% push fit, and one of them, which I think we could do and start with, is Titanomachy, which is the next big project. I think our next big project is I mentioned this one previously, it's a wargaming skirmish game with different mechs and something special. I will have more information about it within the next few months. It's currently in the design stages, so yeah. Yeah, so they make robots, so that's what it is. We also plan to make robots. It's slightly different. So if you look on the Bandai, they're much more toyish, on the toyish side of it. We make miniatures and models. They're completely different products, and we're gonna be making miniatures and models with, you know, huge size of robots. With stay tuned. I'm talking too much about it. Right. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on. That's good. That's good. That's from the original Rampart stuff. We have some plans for Rampart. I will mention in a sec, because this question keeps coming back about the laser bit of dungeons. So give me a sec. Give me a sec. We're gonna get there. So also we have a tank. This is one of the in fact, the backstory for this model is that this was resin model released in 2017 or 16 or 15, something like that. Quite old model. And we had this model, and I always wanted this model to be in plastic injection. For some reason, it wasn't working with resin, right? Resin is not the best material to work with. We have all the issues with resin, with the shaping and so on and so on. And this model is actually, there was first one of the models which Camila was actually cutting. And what we realized, when you have a huge number of elements, there's an issue with when you cut the model, and I needed to establish new process, and this model allows us to actually put in new process in order to eliminate so-called overlapping, so making sure that all the elements are working very well with each other when you assemble the model. So yeah, I will always remember this model as the one which we needed to improve our process, and yeah, that's was one of the challenges for the team, because it was first model. I think the all parts count is 100 something parts. And believe me or not, it's got the bottom. So it's our industrial joke here. For those of you who collect Warhammer pieces, you will know what exactly I mean. It's got a bottom. This tank's got a bottom, and you have a small hatch event, so you don't have to attach it if you need to. So our lovely internal joke. So next one for this month, we have also the Battleground Wave 4. Wave 4 is Power of the Evil Horde. Something I was waiting personally for. One of the extra faction. It changed the meta again, which I really love. That's the whole idea for this game, was to, with the following releases, to have a little bit shift in the meta, and then obviously adding third factions allow us to actually increase the number of releases for all three factions. So there's one more faction which is coming this year. You may you might try to guess which one is it. And yeah, stay tuned for that one as well. What else? Oh, that's new. So as you might know, every time when we go into trade shows or there's something great coming up, we plan to release a nice new miniature, which is the trade show only, or something like, promo mini. So this time around we have this tournament promo miniature, which will be part of the tournament pack for this quarter. But not only that, you can also buy it. As always, we have options for you to actually get this miniature. So there is two ways of getting this Kodak. One way to get it is basically going for Archon's online store pre-orders. We're going to start pre-orders on Monday, 13th of February, and you're going to have basically time up until 26th of February when we start shipping the products out of our factory. You'll be able to pre-order this model. So there's also another way to get it. We are in a partner with Legion Distribution. It's a French distributor that is actually going to be attending the Cannes International Games Festival starting from 24th to 26th. So they're going to have that miniature on stock as well. So if you're in that trade show, just pop in on that stand where Legion is located and you may get it straight away from there. They're also going to have a full rack of Battleground releases, obviously in French language. Not quite sure whether they're going to have some English version, but if you want French, you can get a French version. So two ways of getting it. And obviously it's a limited, and during that period of time, or between 23rd and 26th, you will be all able to order other miniatures, which we had it previously as well. Let me just check the comments quickly. Yes, we made the bottom and we give it for free. Okay. Yes, you will be able to order from our online store during the period of 13th of February to 26th of February. So during that period, order. And once after 26, you're not going to be able to order it till next trade show we're going to attend, which I think it's going to be either UK trade show, so UK Game Expo, or it's going to be Essen. I'm pretty sure. No, sorry. I want to go to Salute. Which is in London. I think it's London in April. I want to go there. It's a lovely. It's personally for me. I'm the wargamer. Obviously, it's the best trade show ever to go to, and I just want to see the guys we met and we know for so many years, and just want to say hello to them and have a coffee and things like that. To be honest, on that trade show, but if you are a wargamer, I always say the Salute is like a mecca. You have to go for Salute. Okay, let's move on. Clear that one. Okay, what else we have for? Hold on one second. So this is the thingy. Now, Fields of Eternia, as you might know, is on a boat to us, and I'm happy to actually announce a new expansion, which is going to be on the second quarter of 2023. We're currently working on it, so you can see that. And it's coming. It won't have any miniatures, bear in mind, but quite a lot of printed content expanding the game. So Enter Dragons, you should maybe we should give you some sneaky peek of what's going on and what's the new stuff will be about. Okay, one quickly, so there's some questions to answer. So only exclusively in your online shop, yes, and also on the trade shows. So don't be discouraged. The reason why we put on the trade shows as well and only in the online store was your feedback. So we had a feedback that not many people are able to go on Essen Spiel, for instance, which is the biggest the biggest trade show, and they would like to get those miniatures. So what we decide to do is, whenever there is a trade show and whenever we go for a trade show or the partner goes on a trade show with our full line of products, we will release a model also into our, and we have the model, the trade show only model, we will release with the pre-orders on our store as well. So just to give you more options to actually get those unique stuff. Yeah, so unfortunately only to our store. But if you're going to be at any trade shows where we also going to have those miniatures available. Right, a little bit of heroes. So we finally finished all the 2D arts. We have all the 2D arts approved. We have basically, I will show you the where we are with it, and in terms of the project delivery. So we have 2D arts fully approved. Finally, so there's nothing to do in terms of 2D arts. What's the plan for the next is, let me just show you this quickly. Right, you have seen that one before. I did that graph to show you exactly what actions we have to take in order to get these projects on time. And we expanded our team. The team is much bigger now just because of these projects and just to make sure these projects will be delivered on time. So several bits and bobs of the projects is assigned to different people. We have Michał Tukan, which is our new project manager for Heroes and Might and Magic, especially for doing tests and doing play testings and so on. He's doing extremely good job, and I will show you some pictures in a second. I'm very surprised about the feedback. I'm very surprised about the hype around this game. So as you remember, the plan is still to ship in December. November, October, November, we need to have that one on a boat. In order to do that, we need that production. So this production slot is actually showing only 2 months, but we just had a chat with our production manufacturing company in China, and they told us that needs to be extended for 3 months at least for the quantities we're asking for. However, the prototype approval sits here, and what is good about it, the Inferno rules, so those ones which we really scared about, because as you remember during the Kickstarter, for us it was a huge challenge. You might think it's not, but it was extremely huge challenge. The game was ready, game was prepared, and every single additional content which wasn't planned for the game, which Inferno wasn't planned for the game, was causing huge concerns about whether we're gonna be able to deliver the game on time and whether it's gonna be fully balanced playtest and so on. So that was one of the reasons why we decided to expand the team, one of the reasons why we decided to take bits of bobs of these projects assigned to other people and focus and basically do that way. So, divide and conquer, let's call it that way, strategy. So I'm happy to say that 2D assets, so everything we needed for Inferno, although we had time till May, June, is done. Done and dusted, is fully approved. There is nothing else to be done. So that is great. Absolutely great. Same goes for the 3D asset for the miniatures. We have all those 3D asset miniatures final. There's nothing else to be approved, and we're ready to send them out to manufacturer to start doing molds. Now, translations material to print, obviously, we're still in a time. So I hope we will finish Inferno. And the team is actually giving us feedback on a weekly basis where we are with it on time. We have to give it on time. There's no discussion about it. Now, this is the point when I'm going to be reporting to you. So something in the May, June, July, you're going to poke in me for, hey, Jarek, where we are with assembling all the prototype, and we want to see the prototype being on the pictures and so on. So yeah. I think I'm gonna be posting this one constantly to show you where we are, at least every second live stream. So at least once a month, just to tell you where we are. And if I see any yellow flags, red flags, or whatsoever, we'll definitely tell you straight away. And if we have to put some countermeasure plans in place, I will also tell you what exactly we're going to do. It's make sure that red flag turn to yellow, and obviously no flag whatsoever. So, and here this is the slot when we actually sending right now all the miniatures for manufacturing. So the molds manufacturing is one of the biggest time-consuming process for the external manufacturers. How it works in China is not like you can go and find a single manufacturer of everything. We've got very good manufacturer for printing materials, but they have to go somewhere else to make miniatures and models to other company. And usually when you start investigating and seeing, okay, there's only a couple companies really in China which do everything, like, when I mean everything, like they do miniatures for everybody, or they do paper component for everybody. So I think there's 3 major board game companies in China, really major board game companies, which makes the paper component, about 3 different major large companies which makes miniatures. But everybody else, all the small manufacturers, that always goes either of them. So it's kind of different. It's not like, in Europe this business works differently. Usually a European manufacturer wants to do everything because obviously the cost and everything needs to be driven down. Like for us, for instance, currently we make models and miniatures on spruce, but we want to expand it also to make PVC miniatures. But currently we're actually getting new buildings set up. We also want to make paper content for our games, not maybe for the full board games at this stage, because it's a big challenging and big step up learning curve for us, but something we want to start with and build better future in Europe, let's say, right? Okay, we are here. We are basically here, so at least 2 green lights currently. I'm quite happy about it. Team good, very, very well, really, really well, so I'm happy about it. And this is where we are heroes. The playtest. The playtest is happening. Something about playtest. We did not expect that many people to actually be with us on the playtests. I think we had like 30 seats in Poznan only, and then we had like 50 people actually coming in. We are people that didn't want to quit. They didn't want to swap with other people, just wanted to play the game, and so on, so on. There's a number of feedback and from the team, and there's something very interesting, that combat. Quite a lot of people like combat. And they didn't want to give up. They just wanted to keep going and keep playing. The combat board was obviously changed, and the combat board now is 4 lines instead of 3 lines. I think that adding additional line to the combat board was it was a huge milestone in terms of the playtesting of the game and seeing whether everything works. But in the same time, you add so many new strategies and the way you play it, and so on, so on, so on. That it is, there is something. It's a new quality basically. So quite happy about it. I will ask my team then to start collecting pure data. So we need to start collecting pure data because I'm operating on a math basis. So I need to have a scoring system. I need to know how people score the game and what's the weakest point in the game they score. And based on that one, we will have to, make tiny adjustments. This is something we haven't done only because we didn't expect the number of people that are going to be participating in the playtestings. But we're going to be introducing this one, and I want to see numbers, and I want to present those numbers to you. Just make sure that we going into the right directions. Exactly the same way we did during the alpha playtest, the beta playtest, and so on, where we collect the data from several different trade shows, and then came back here, analyze the data, see the weakest point, and adjust the weakest points accordingly to the numbers. So that's for that. Again, thank you very much for the playtesting. We're going to expand playtesting to other countries. Right, currently it's Poland. You have to kind of bear in mind this is extremely huge hype in Poland on this game, and having those guys coming in, it is extremely beneficial to this game because they will kind of shape with us this game to the level that they, as our core hardcore fans will understand how the game plays. So everybody from all other countries will know exactly. They will be quite happy with the game, if you know what I mean. So yeah. So there's about 12 playtesting groups. I hope every single playtesting group will be as much active as these two or three now. We have playtest the game and we will get all the info. Yes, I think yes. This is what Jacob was, I think, clarifying. Now, so something about that one. I'm trying to get the team also just to write up a FAQ from last few, live chats, just to give you, as a sum up of FAQs, and also explain what changes are coming to the game, if any of those changes are coming. Yes, so how the balance works also usually with every single game is you need to have at least 1,000 games to see what needs to be balanced and then collect data from that. So I usually, what I ask the team to do, and this is what we're doing currently kind of with Battleground, Master of the Universe Battleground at the moment does not require any single balance changes whatsoever. The game seems to be working very good, so we spend a lot of time in order to, before release anything, to pre-balance all the components and so on, and then we create systems allowing us to actually balance the game in the future. So for instance, for Master of the Universe Battleground, we have a points for the items and everything else on a separate document, which is PDF document. You can always download it. So if we need to change something, we will change in that document. But we're on a wave number 4 now. The game being there out for last year, we pushed out almost 12,000, 15,000 boxes, core boxes, and plus on top of that other stuff. So there is a good number of games already being played, and if you look at anywhere out there is no issues with a balance, in at least not in the Battleground. So for us, it's very important to make sure that this game, Heroes Might and Magic 3, is fully balanced. And the why, as you mentioned, tournament. Yes, the tournament mode for us is very, very important. I think it's the most important bit. We want this game to exist. We want this game to, carry on its existence. We don't want this game to be yet another dust collector. Many companies which release the game, they never do any post-release support. So that's not what we do. That's not what we want for this game. For this game, we want to do quite a long, and we have plans for quite a long post Kickstarter release support. So this means we will want to organize tournaments. We will have tournament pack for it. I want to have tournament pack for it, where we can actually win maybe some special miniatures or limited run miniatures or something like that, or something, even cards, even special, limited cards and everything else. So without proper balance of the game, it won't be any good. Everybody will play one faction and everybody else will complain that my lovely faction is not good at all. Yeah, so the post later, we will definitely going to carry on with balancing the game. And definitely other revisions of the game whenever they need. So how are we going to collect data? Well, it's quite simple. We can collect data from tournaments if they're going to happen. So we will see which faction is actually on the top, and then we will try to understand the reasons why the faction is on the top. So obviously, if you have, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 tournaments or 6 tournaments, and there's one faction which is dominating, that's something wrong. So we need to look into it. It's either too easy to play or something. So yeah, right. I will leave it for the next couple of what's the thingy, amas, and I will answer. We will keep doing the same. So we will also get some data from tournaments. Once we start doing tournaments, collect data from tournaments, and I will ask my team to plot on a chart, or I will plot on a chart, and we will discuss them here to see what's the outcome from the tournament is. And we have some plans for, obviously, expansions. We already mentioned this one in retail. We want to get more factions out. So yeah, huge plans for this game. Really huge plans for this game. And a support. We have already actually fully dedicated team for the support for this game. Okay, Deus Lab. As you might know. Let me just check. Maybe there's some questions I should go through or answer. Yeah, the China stuff. There's something really to mention here, and I'm happy to talk about that. Is the issue with China currently is that many manufacturers from our commodity wants to move out from China. They don't want to be in China. There's supply demand is one issue. So if another COVID happened and something whatever happened, and not having product for 6-8 months like we have, it costs money. Absolutely costs money to the business. So it's simple. You make sales plan. You want to sell X, Y, Z within the year in order to keep your staff, in order to keep your business running, and so on, so on, so on. And if you order something in China, you have to pay upfront. So you pay the product upfront. And then if the China delays for 3 months to 6 months, you just froze your money for 6 months, and then you have to get a boat back, which takes another month. So it's like 7 months, and then you have to sell it. 8 months, 9 months, 9 months freezing money. That's ridiculous. This is not how we do business in Europe. Business in Europe, we do differently. Usually there's some payment upfront for the product, and then you give credit to your business partner, to your basically business or your contractor, and allowing him to actually sell the product, make the profit out of it, and then pay you for the product. So something being cheaper made in China doesn't really make business wise is cheaper, because you just froze your money and you cannot turn your money around in a business for 9 months, when in Europe you could turn your money 3 times, 4 times, 5 times even, if you have a product within a month or 2. So this is something which now many of our commodity business partners start to understand very, very well, that, hey, hold on, I could have this already on the shelf, and then maybe another wave of product on a shelf, and maybe third product on a shelf if I make it in Europe, instead of making in China and waiting for all the things to be sorted out. And the other things is, obviously, we know about Taiwan, and then there is also risk of that. So we have always, I'm a huge fan. I learned this one in a corporation. I used to work in many corporations. There's always plan B, and you've got to have plan B in your business, and you have to have plan B in case of, I don't know, something will happen in supply chain. So yeah, we have a backup plan just in case if something will happen, especially for the heroes. So we have a Polish manufacturer which will be able to step in and make the product. And miniatures, we can make miniatures as well, one piece if needed, which we're currently working on that process. So obviously the product then will be more expensive, but A, I'm gonna have on time, and B, there won't be no risk of supply demand whenever we need that one. So yeah, business is difficult. I would rather sit and play the games, war games. Okay, let's move on to Deus Ex. This first question, which I need to take out of the way. Launch date for Deus Ex, whenever it's ready. Really, it sounds trivial, it sounds Blizzard-ish, but whenever it's ready. I look at the content of we have currently. It's 400 miniatures. So the pre-page and everything else, we only going to be launching pre-page whenever the page looks good, and we're not gonna be rushing with it. And I'll show you in a second why. We're not going to be rushing with it, because we want to have this content be spot on. You already know we have very good prices. You already know we can make extremely nice miniatures. You already know the designs of the miniatures are in pair with other manufacturers, and the cost and everything else is much lower. So we now want to make sure that we will convince as much people as possible that look guys, we will spend a little bit more time on design of the page and content for you, just to make sure when we start, it won't be like full start. It's going to be like, spot on. So just to be honest on that one, I keep saying constantly to my team is either March, so something in like second week of the March, maybe third week of the March, or beginning of April. However, if we're not going to get enough content for the page, and prepay page not gonna look very nice, we will carry on till it's actually gonna be there. So maybe even May. But give us a couple more weeks. My team promised to me that we will see how page looks next week or within next couple of weeks, and then we're gonna make the decision about the starting or just keep working on a page. Again, this is 400 miniatures, and all of those miniatures are many of those miniatures are brand new miniatures, so we need to actually make them, and it won't be any good if I'm gonna be just showing you like, you know, concepts for them. Now I don't want concept, I want just like more than a concept. I just want to have at least STL file for it, just to show you. Me too. That's only one thing. So I mentioned about the shipping. We start shipping, but all those pledges we shipped are without playmats, because playmats should be with us next week. Okay, they've been shipped out just after the Chinese New Year, and they should be with us next week. So once I've got them, I'll make the video and we will make photos and update you with the photos. But currently we have about 4,500 parcels to be shipped out without the mat, and we just gonna be pushing them first out of the door. Yeah, it's a good question. Sorry, I didn't mention this one at the beginning. Shipping, yeah, about at the beginning when I was saying about the shipping. Yeah. So let me show you what I've got for you for encounters, because there's a lot of great things to show you for encounters. Yeah, different demons, different encounters, and we are quite extremely lucky with our guys, because we just told them do what you think we should be there based on the brief description of the monsters and things like that. So I will be showing you some of the larger miniatures we plan for this Kickstarter. So you may expect something like that being twice size or even twice and a half size of human. So several different demons. This demon's got the backstory. It's got its own troops, and it's got its own followers, which I will show you in a second. Actually, I think I've been showing you some of those miniatures before. So please expect large minis in a quality of GW quality, with its own bases, with its own stuff. What else we're looking at? We're looking at playable races of, for instance, Medusa race. Right, so these miniatures are actually more than just normal size miniatures. What else there? Some other stuff. So Medusa-like miniatures. Okay. So I'm showing you a different variety because the scope of the Kickstarter is to have several different themes, and all those themes are aligned with what I'm showing you right now. So all those knights and kind of demons, they are one part of one theme. The other theme is basically those animals looking and Medusa looking stuff. Okay, on the left hand side on the bottom you can see basically the scale of the miniature. So yeah, I really love that mini, absolutely. But if we're talking about a mini, that's the size of it. So again, something huge to put on the table, something which is gonna be quite interesting on the table. So just a quickie. Yes, so something we always do, I am happy to show you. So we have several bases, because there's one question about bases which I want to answer. We always provide miniatures with custom-made bases or texture bases. Basically, you're never gonna get from us flat bases. I don't see value in a flat basis, but not only that. In some cases, like you are able to see here, some of the miniatures, they will have their own individual base. So like this model here, it will have its own base, because the base in case of this miniature, it's a big boss, right? It's a final boss. It needs to have that one because it tells the story. There's a background story about it, about this miniature, about why, what's that, and what does it mean, right? So we have the same on Tarask. Have a look. There is hidden message on a Tarask base. But for some of the miniatures, we're gonna be doing this. For other miniatures, we plan to just give you pack of bases, same as it was with the previous minis, with the previous miniatures. So yeah, dragons, for instance. This is the small dragon. Let me just turn my face. 1 second. Hello. As you can see, all of the dragons, this is the small dragon from Encounters. That was one of the last models to be made. Its own basis is there. So, and most of the models we plan to do and make in the bigger scale, they all have their own miniature bases, like Giant, for instance, right? Okay, and it's a thematic basically base. So, as you can see, it tells the story. So that's the difference between our miniatures. In terms of 28mm miniatures, so something like, or 32 or whatever, the smaller size miniatures, will give you, you're gonna get a full sprue of bases. Okay. I can't wait to get this one in my hands, really, this mini. That's completely new level. That's completely new level. Right. Let me show you more. Let me show you more. I've got more for you. Not many here. We might think about adding some custom made base for that. We will see. So soulless. These are called soulless. There's gonna be a squad of them, I think. That's the size to the current size of the miniatures. Something bigger. So, as you can see, we have loads of ideas, loads of plans, and everything you can see on the screen here, it's going to be it's going definitely to be a miniature. So that miniature Kickstarter will be the biggest, not only size of, you know, miniatures wise, the miniatures, but also what you're going to get it. I mean, I think, you know, cost wise, everything else will be there, will be definitely there. Yes, I will be. I'm just clicking on that one. I will be answering this question in a second. Amasu, I love that. What else we have there? Purple Worm. So we don't have a scale for that one yet, but I think should be a little bit bigger than a human. Definitely bigger than a human. Should be able to swallow human in the mouth in a one bite. And then some waspy wasp, something which is a full faction of it. I think we should be full faction of it. I think this is something unique for our universe to be there. Now there's a huge question regarding exclusive, and is Robin going to be there? Yes, Robin is going to be there. We plan to have several exclusive. One exclusive which we plan to give you is for returning backers. You're gonna get all the returning backers if you backed any of our previous projects. If you come back to back this new projects, at least for the minimum level, so the first level of backing, you will get one more extra miniature, which will be well, I'm not gonna be revealing now, but it's gonna be extremely good. I mean, we had some brainstorming a couple days ago about it, what we can give you. It's gonna be miniature, you haven't seen it, but it's something about the Robin. It's something about the Robin. Right, so that is coming. That's the one. We do have those creatures in the previous pack, so yes, kind of. If you're going for Encounters pack, there's several creatures in the Encounters pack which are not in attacking, or just basically like flying around, like pieces, more like a pieces of terrain, rather being, you know, something you have to encounter or attack, okay, or fight with. Right, what else we have here? We have some questions. I'm happy to answer these questions coming from Discord. So if you are on Discord, just join our channel. We always provide some sneaky peeks there. Shimon is looking after that one, so he's always poking me for I need some sneaky peeks. So whenever I have something, I will always share with him, and then he will share with you. Let me just check a few things, few questions. Oh, by the way, just going back to this one, not only that, we also plan to run something like community stretch goals, which means we have around about 6,500 people now signing up for the Kickstarter. I think the next level will be about 8,000. So if we reach 8,000, we're gonna be unlocking something before the campaign even starts. So if you haven't followed the campaign yet, just go and follow it. Deus Lair, and then yeah, guys, do me a favor, if my team is listening, just post the link to it. Maybe that would be much faster in the comments, if you know YouTube allow posting links. So the follow it, and yeah, more people will follow. We will be unlocking some stuff before even campaign starts. Let's just go maybe through questions. So that is the one, and obviously returning backers. We're also looking at something for 48 hours early bird backing. So there is also a plan for that one. So you may get, if you consider actually backing, you may get a quite good deal if you get that on time. So on time backing. Yes, so this is something we have discussed with my team as well. We plan to sneak in several classic creatures into it. So kind of our take on the classic creatures, but stay tuned. We will be announcing them as well. You may guess which one they are, but they're extremely classic. So like we did in the previous campaign, Tarask and maybe some other stuff. But stay tuned, you will see it. Okay, let's move on to the questions. Question was, are DNL 5 and 6 only campaigns this year, or can we expect something else? So no, only 2 campaigns this year. That's the plan. Simple fact, we don't want to overextend whatsoever. We have a tons of work on our plate. I don't know whether we're still gonna be able even to run 2 campaigns this year. The plan is there. Depending when this Dungeons and Lasers Deus Ex campaign starts, and how many stuff we have to do post campaign. So how much stuff we're going to be unlocking. We will see whether the 6th campaign gonna be something like Q4, I think towards the end of the year, just to be totally realistic about it. We don't want to sneak in any other campaigns. We don't want to overextend, and we want to spend more time on a quality campaigns instead of quantity, if you know what I mean. So you're gonna get quantity always with us. I mean, there's no doubt about it. It's quite clear. But we want to spend a little bit more time on the quality campaigns. Okay. Let's have a look for the next one. Oh, not this button. Just click here. So one sec, just clear this. Okay, right. So next question was, when do we get some lasers? Now this is something which is coming back constantly. Lasers. I think lasers we will have to incorporate in Rampart. I think we should think about incorporating that aspect of lasers, because there's lots of plans for lasers as well. Yeah, let's see if we can actually incorporate lasers in the Rampart and run some Rampart campaign next week. There's also one more project which we want to release. I haven't mentioned this, and I would skip it for now. Which will include quite a lot of laser thing. So pieces of terrain, miniatures, models, and everything else, which is going to be 100% of lasers. Okay. Let me just answer this question. I think it's quite important. Are those who missed Home 3 campaign? Yes, we are going to open Pledge Manager in April. I hope in April. Well, definitely in April. We have to. This is the second quarter, so it needs to be opened, and you will be able to join the campaign. Okay, let's have a look for the next stuff. Shimon, I know you're asking for more lasers. We also want to do more lasers, but we have so many fantasy stuff to be done that the lasers needs to be its own thing. So this campaign is going. The Deus Ex campaign will take so much our capacity, 3D capacity, that we cannot divide and conquer both campaigns. So it needs to be 2 separate campaigns. Next question: will there be more minis that use special base for unique poses in Deus Ex, like the Sato sitting on a tree? Yes. So yes, this is for the more epic miniatures. So as I mentioned just a few minutes ago, that's what we always do. we have a separate document which just dictates whether the miniature needs to have its own miniature or a base sculpt, or is going to be using share based. A shared base, what I mean by that is you're going to get like a sprue of bases which they have some detail on it. So don't expect any flat bases from us. Even if you see on the render which I was showing today, please do not expect that you're going to get something like that. We don't ship flat bases. Our bases are always with some kind of detail, which is the theme of the campaign. So this time around will be new theme of the campaign and new bases. Okay, what else? Let's check the next one. Question: we have seen teasers of cave walls. Does that mean we can expect curved walls as well? Yes, please expect curved walls. It needs to be needs to be there. The few engineerings we were testing solutions, and you please expect the curved walls finally for dungeons and lasers caves. Okay, next one. And now the new minis are rescaled. Will the add-on reprints of older design be in the original scale? Will there be another Rampart this year? Not for the Rampart this year. I think next year Rampart, something along with Rampart and laser part of Dungeons and Lasers. The new minis are rescaled. Yes and no. Will the add-on reprints or older designs be in the original scale? We don't, for the new campaign, we won't have nothing from the old stuff, right? So this is to be bear in mind. So everything which was humanoid, which was released to retail. So I'm talking here about the Tanfolks, which is within that scale of 28 to 30 millimeter. It's not gonna be available on a new campaign. Only everything from last campaign, so encounters. This is what is going to be available. And then if you go to Encounters campaign, what you find out, there is not many humanoid size miniatures. Basically, not many humans. And all the ones which are a little bit bigger, they are currently in 32 millimeter scale. So please do not kind of expect anything from the old campaigns, previous campaigns, in terms of miniatures to be available. And also in terms of increasing scale for the previous models, no, we won't be able to do that. We simply won't be able to do that. I don't know, we had internal discussions about it many times, and we want it to be between, and I'm going to be showing you some pictures on the next live where exactly we want to be with our miniatures, because I think it's much easier if we show you Whisket's miniature, Reaper miniatures, and our current scale. And that will, explain everything, because talking about the numbers, it's not the best. Let's say Whiskey says they make 28 millimeter models. They're not 28 millimeter models, because if you measure them, they're much bigger. Reaper miniatures, they say they're 32, but then if you measure them, they're 35 to 38 even. So the scale of the miniatures products is all over the place. The manufacturer says once, and effectively the miniature scale, or just physical measurement of miniature, is different than they say. So the plan about it is to show you exactly our line of miniatures along other line of miniatures you might have, or or you have seen in stores, right? And that should clear out everything about the scale of miniatures. Okay. I was actually, in fact, very surprised when I got just a couple of days ago. We got some of the latest packs from Reaper and from Whiskets, and those miniatures are really large, and they either official D&D miniatures or none, but they still, the Reaper and Whiskets, they're on almost pair in terms of scale. We need to adjust it basically in order to be up there. Given the new DNL miniatures are large scale, will you offer shorter bases to help with your new figures? Okay, so we do have shorter bases. We did that. So I've got two things here. I've got my best tool ever, the caliper, and the base for dungeon lasers Tanfolks pack was 3.75 millimeter. So that's 3.75 millimeter base, and the new basis for the new pack with encounter pack was actually 3 millimeter. So 0.75 millimeter thicker bases. It's not as much as you might expect. Like, we cannot go the deeper, smaller, deeper, because at the end of the day, they're gonna be completely flat, which they're not gonna be even the base I want to have it. So they need to have small rim, but yeah, they are smaller. The new bases are smaller, and not smaller in a size, but on the, well, in a size, but you know what I'm saying, yeah, in Z direction, on the height, yeah. So yeah. Yes, we have to have more giants. We have to have more giants. We have Pepper the Giant. We have the Lady Giant as well. You've seen it. We're gonna have more giants, demon giants, and all the possible giants. Will there be Lovecraftian horror influenced terrain to dungeon lasers after those love? Yes, I can only confirm this. So for the cave, we plan to have 3 different teams for the cave, right? I can tell you about 2. Okay, let me do it. I can tell you about 2. One is just caves, right? Caves in our system. Second one, it's gonna be kind of horror-ish insides of large monster, right? So imagine this. Right, so this is the second theme we plan to do. I won't be telling you the third one. Let's leave it for the campaign, because to be honest, we're still working on the third one. But the second one is definitely something like a walking inside the body of dead, not maybe dead, still alive monster. Right. So imagine bones, flesh, and everything, like the walls trying to eat you. Right, some things coming out of the wall and so on, and you basically walking in a spawn of blood and flesh, and well, whatever. It's gonna be gross. It's going to be gross. It's gonna be PG-18 terrain. But this is what is going to happen for sure, because we already agreed to that one. So yeah, answering the question, I would say yes. Modern caves, I don't think so. The modern cave will work. Maybe in sci-fi, some kind of modern stuff. We will see when we're gonna be working on next year Rampart, Stroke, Dungeons, and a laser bit of it. Will those include scenery stretch goals that are faction related? We had some discussion about it internally. Maybe small bits and bobs of elements will be available during the campaign. Stay tuned, we will have something to show you definitely at some point. Home 3, I love the way the game is coming together. My only concern is about the black background of the hero cards. Is there any possibility to get more faction color in there, all in pleasure? Something also we had discussion about it. The cards are not kind of final. This is something we still working. There's a small changes we need to do based on the feedback we have received from playtest. So also I don't like black because black is difficult to work with, right? So difficult to print, and usually when black is printed it shows more like a gray, not black, and doesn't look very good. So once we have it like final samples in our hands, we're gonna make a decision about it. Maybe then we can just move on to more faction related colors. But that means waiting. I need to have a sample in my hand in order to make a call. I'm a visual person, so usually I just visualize everything. Oh yeah. Any news on if they plan to adding on none? Yes. Okay, this is a good question. Really good question. What are you going to get in a bestiary? And this is very important. And we haven't advertised this one yet, and we haven't even told. What we make a call about it is you're going to get a bestiary, which is 5e, but then along the same page, we're gonna give you a full blank table or anything we will come up with open RPG system, let's say, in order for you to fill in. So this allows you to have those books regardless if you play 5e or you play your own system. So that makes sense, right? So if you as a game master wants to use this monster and some of the rules, you can use it. But then if you need different stats for different gaming system, doesn't matter which one, you'll be able to write it up by yourself. So we will give you an option, right? So yeah, it's gonna be 5e compatible. 5e compatible. Just make sure this word compatible is used, right? Yeah, so that's very good question, and that's how we're gonna be running this. I will make a separate video once I have a sample of at least one page to show you, because I think this is extremely important to advertise that you don't buy only into 5e compatible product, but it also allows you to create your own or add your own stuff inside the book, right? Inside the book. We are also exploring the open RPG system and how it will work. It's either something along the 20 system, but as you may know, everything went now into public domain. This means the rules are available for everybody and there is no issues with that now. We will see. I need to get more understanding about how the open RPG will work, or Black Flag project. We will see how the Black Flag project works and whether we can actually use the blank content just for that one. Maybe we don't know yet. It's still in plans. But yes, you're gonna have option with your bestiary to add anything you want, anything you want. We give you. Good morning. Can we have information the Fields of Eternity update? So as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, is on a boat. You can track it. It's on the update. See where the boat is currently. Once it's offloaded in our factory, the next day shipping starts. So I'm looking beginning of March. Release date for Throwback competition and its content. I'm not quite sure what's that. And the release date for Wave 4. And will you have the pleasure to having okay, Wave 4 release is on this month. On 26 we plan to release. I showed you already. It is on a video, so you can have a look. It's on the chat. Right. So what I want, first of all, I want decent, right? So you may expect at least hardback copy plus the quite good paper to work with, right? I had several RPG systems from other manufacturer. One of the system which I really like, and the paper is like, I've got better toilet paper at home than the paper they use to make RPG book. And as a planned obsolescence, that was a stupid idea what they did, in my opinion. I won't bash them officially because I shouldn't. They also run business, but we not plan to do anything like slim paper that's just break in your hand whatsoever. It's gonna be proper paper. You may expect exactly the same quality of product you would get with any other 5e compatible products. Yeah. Right, so just quick one about the toy fair. Extremely great. Thank you for visiting us. It was mainly for distributors. It was mainly for stores. The feedback was amazing, absolutely amazing. We had so many people coming to our stand, not knowing us yet. Not surprised because we've been on the market, like a retail market, just 1 year. We're expanding and we're very quickly expanding. I'm gonna be honest with you, something which I heard twice about us, about Archon, that Archon is going into be serious competition to WizKids in terms of models, miniatures, adding RPG. And as I mentioned before, I would like to be one-stop RPG shop company. So you will get miniatures, terrain, everything you want, heroes in the future, everything you want for your RPG campaigns to be affordable and available worldwide from one supply, one company. So that's basically what everybody keeps saying to us, that if we follow that trend, our product line, our cost, everything, we're gonna keep it as it is, and increasing the number of products in retail, we're definitely gonna be outselling or basically taking over WizKids. In fact, we are currently outselling WizKids in Europe. WizKids in Europe wasn't any big, don't get me wrong, right? So, but we outselling WizKids in terms of terrain, right? Not in terms of miniatures, because their line is huge and they have official line of miniatures for Dungeons and Dragons. But in terms of terrain, which we have both Pathfinder and in general 5e in retail, from our biggest distributor in Europe, we have a data that we are outselling WizKids. So yeah, that's good stuff. I think the brand Dungeons Lasers is growing, and yeah, that's the business. That's the pure business information about it, and also the future. So for us, carry on definitely within the RPG. It's a good call. We need to definitely increase the lasers bit of it. That's for sure, because I see more and more laser bits being played in the wargaming. Yeah, in the wargaming. So that's good stuff. What's that? The question is for what? Sorry, I'm not getting. If this is question for the Titanomachy, then yes. We had discussion about the Titanomachy, and each of the faction will have its own regional gods. So imagine faction of Slavs, or imagine faction of Nordic faction, right? So if this is for Titanomachy, mechs looking like, you know, some Nordic gods. Yeah. So let's go. Yeah, let's go. That's good stuff. And thank to you, because most of the stuff we actually doing is thanks to you, because we run Kickstarters, and then from after Kickstarters we release everything to retail. And we wouldn't be there without your support on the Kickstarters. That's quite simple, right? So yeah. Okay. Let's check more questions. I think this could be available at some point, not at this stage because we playtesting. And the thing about the playtesting is, if we give you something now today and it's not finished, it might be misread. So I would rather wait for team to finish full work and say, oh guys, we have finished or finalized Inferno, and this is what is for the Inferno in terms of mechanic, and this is how the Inferno is being played. So I would leave it for the proper Kickstarter update, because obviously this is Kickstarter project. And also once it's ready, once it's fully finalized, playtest, and we're happy with the outcome. Yeah, go Poland, that's true. Oh yeah, me too. Several plans for own game systems. Maybe not RPG systems, don't get me wrong. The RPG systems, it's not something we can develop and want to develop. RPG systems, we would rather make supplements for RPG in terms of plastic injection, models, miniatures, and terrain. In terms of systems, no. But in terms of wargaming, obviously, yes. I mean, that's the next step, right? Just, we have a factory, we can make models to the quality of Games Workshop. We can make them and sell them 3 times cheaper than Games Workshop and still be happy about the profit margin. So why not? And we have some plans. We have a licensed product plan, which is coming along for last 3 years, but we also have our own plans, and one of them is Titanomachy, which I'm gonna be start pushing soon as well, because I strongly believe in this project, and I played the game just yesterday. I really like it. It's still lots of work to do in order to be good and nice, and so on. There is several rules in the Titanomachy which you haven't seen previously in any other wargaming skirmish game, so that's what I like. And there's nothing better than massive battle of mechs on a battlefield when they bash them with their hammers and destroy terrain around them, and all those things. So amazing stuff, really good stuff. But then we also have to think about fantasy line. We also have to think about more skirmish, or maybe wargame larger, just to compete. I'll keep saying the same stuff. There's no counterweight to Games Workshop. Never will be, probably, because the scale of the business is huge. Although Nokia was also huge, so it's not never say never. Nokia was huge, and they make few mistakes and ended up with not existence at all. Games Workshop is huge. There's no counterbalance. This is no good. Not having counterbalance to such huge company means they dominate the market and they have nobody to compete with, right? So they basically are a monopoly. In fact, they are a monopoly. So they dictate the rules, and they basically, with more and more releases and more rapid releases, try to even kill more competition. So could our company be a counterweight to Games Workshop? I don't think so. I don't think there is no company out there that could be 100% of countermeasure. But joining the other side of small, tiny companies like Mantic and Battlefront and so on, into a counterweight balance to Games Workshop is great, especially now that we can actually manufacture so many miniatures and models. What we need to do basically now is just think what we want to do in terms of those products, right? We don't want to compete with Games Workshop. It's like competing with somebody with huge experience, like competing with a Tyson on the ring, right? If I go on a Tyson ring, I will lose right away. His experience, maybe old, but experience and punch very, very strongly. Same Games Workshop, right? So we need to find where exactly our product will fit, but also that is gonna be within the wargaming commodity, if that makes sense. Yeah. There is a huge potential, by the way. There's a huge potential to actually go along different type of stuff, right? Different Indian, for instance, I really love Indian stuff. So Indian demons, Indian heroes, and so on and so on. So this is a good question, right? So what I want for the big miniatures. I want big miniatures to be part of big stretch goals. So during the campaign, we'll have super stretch goals. This time, super stretch goals that actually are super stretch goals, and that's what we're gonna be expanding on. This means if we're going to have super stretch goals, you're gonna get that big miniature for free. And for free. If you want to buy more packs, you will be able to buy more packs, but it's gonna be part of the stretch goals. But we don't want to charge you additionally, God knows how much. Then, obviously, if you want to buy Tarask, it will be also available to buy or in one of the pledges. But so, yeah, we don't want you to charge. It's going to be quite, because of the sheer number of miniatures, it might be for some people on a high level of pledges to be pledged for. But what we're aiming at is at least you get one miniature for less than $1. And that doesn't matter what size of the miniature, right? If it's dragon, you effectively getting this dragon for $1. If it's something even bigger, you're gonna get also for $1. And that also and if it's a small miniature, it's also getting less than $1, right? So that's the whole idea about how we want to structure the next Kickstarter. Now, if you want more, yeah, fine. This is a stretch goal. You can buy more stretch goals. You're gonna get 3, 4, 5 of those miniatures, large miniatures, which definitely effectively cost you just $1 from entire pack, right? So that's different approach. We don't want to squeeze as much as possible. That's not the way we run the business, and it's a short-sighted. And other companies which run Kickstarters, they know very well. I think you know which company I'm talking about their last Kickstarter, so they wanted to increase the average and squeeze as much as possible and bite them. So no, that's not us. And the prices, we're still gonna be keeping prices regardless of the situation, global situation worldwide. Okay, so this campaign, the next campaign, will be very affordable compared to anything out there on the market, right? Very compatible price-wise. So for the miniatures. Yes, the thing is about the smaller skirmish game style or any type of those things, there must be business case as well along with it, right? So we could be making, you see, there's a how the name company is called? Bloody hell, I forgot the name of the company now. I'm getting old. There's a company which release many war games, but just on the paper, right? They don't release any miniatures. They only release the books for the several different war games. Osprey does that. So then you might use any type of miniatures and play the games, right? Now, that's quite easy comparing to actual investment into tooling and everything else. So if we plan to do like a smaller skirmish, it needs to be IP product, right? Because then the sales of the IP product is much better than anything we're gonna be doing. And once we start releasing something for our own line and it's not gonna be profitable, obviously there's going to be issue with whether we carry on or we not carry on. So we don't want to be on the level of Osprey when they just pumping out game after game after game after game. They don't really stick to one idea and one concept. So that's the whole thing. Like now I was talking about the Titanomachy. So just imagine you buy 3 large Titans like that. It is a small skirmish game, but you play with large miniatures, right? But that game will allow us to actually go for doing, carry on, because effectively we will have to like charge $20 for this model, so it's fine. We can carry on releasing more and more mechs for this game, and there is a business case actually to do so. If I go for something smaller, which I will have a product for $5 or $3, I don't think whether in retail, I don't think distributors won't be interested in such a thing, unless it's IP product, right? So business case is very important, because we could do what we want, but at the end of the day, it doesn't make money. There's no reason to actually do it. We got bills to pay and wages to pay and so on. Yes, I heard that one. They have increased prices. I think 6% or something like that. They're going up again. They based in UK. I'm not surprised. They based in UK. The living standard cost living in UK actually goes really up. So I'm not surprised. Really not surprised. This time I'm not surprised. Well, we will see at the end of the day how much profit they've made. If they made more profit than the previous year, this means there was just smoke and mirrors. The announcement, but I don't know. I think they need to do that. And plus, the thing with GW, they are a company which is out there. It's a public company, so they need to make numbers. So if the situation on the global situation is as it is, then they need to do it. But to be honest with you, I think Games Workshop is doing extremely well. They're having huge problems with supply. And if you have a huge problem with supplying product at this stage, at this level, this means you're doing something really, really good. So the reasons for increasing prices, basically they supply and demand is at the level as it is. Okay. I mean, you know that very well. If you want to buy something from them, you go to your local store, they will say, I've got only 2, but I would sell 10, but they only give me 2. So that only shows you what the demand is. They have 6 times bigger demand that they actually fulfill. That's crazy, absolutely crazy. So increasing the price, naturally you increase the price. I mean, that's how the one-to-one basic business works, right? Yeah, we make only 25 and 50. We don't make any 40 and 30 millimeter bases, and this is purely because of the systems of RPG systems, which is dictating its 50 millimeter bases. Or 25 millimeter bases, okay? So the grid system, and the same grid system is with DNL. So if we do something else, that is not going to work, and we will confuse our current customers and so on. So we have to stick with 25, 50, and I think we have one more bigger one just for the large stuff. Would you consider providing those like creatures images in digital format for virtual tabletop application? Yes. It's our own IP, it's our own stuff, it's fully 100% our own stuff, so definitely we can, yeah, that's no problem whatsoever. Always. Communication, advertising, messaging. Advertising we learning, communication we also learning, messaging we also learning. You are competing with them already. Maybe not, well, yes, kind of with GW, but I think I see ourselves competing with WizKids at the moment. If we're going to have a proper war game, then I would say I'm competing partially because I'm making miniatures models we as a company making miniatures models. There's no I in this business, not in this company. Everybody I is out. So we as a business, we make miniatures for other companies. So we make for Mantic, for instance, right? So they compete with GW. So partially we compete. We make for Parabellum. Parabellum competes with GW effectively for the same market. So we are there partially, and we're happy to help those companies, and we're happy to support them as much as possible. One-page rules is good, is there. They're doing very well, I think, with all those releases and so on. They have like a 3D miniatures printed. I've got a huge problem with that because I know 3D printing in and out, right? I mean, now, because come on, we've been doing this for now 9 years in terms of 3D printing, and we've been checking everything. 3D printing is not good for wargaming, and nobody will convince me otherwise. It's not good for wargaming. Doesn't matter what you're gonna get it. It's always the same level. It's either to rubbery or it's breaking. It's not good, right? If you want to have a proper wargaming, it needs to be plastic injection, and everyone I go, and every on the same level of guys as me, just mean wargamers, they will say exactly the same. It's great because I can do something. I mean, some people think it's easy, like, open your fridge and I've got miniatures models. No, it's not. It's a really complicated process to keep it under control. If you have a printer for, I don't know, $300, $400. My friends sold the printers, 3D printers, because they just been so frustrated with them getting broken, needed to reprint, miniature snapping. And if you spend your own time on painting miniature, and that miniature breaks to the small bits, you're gonna be so angry about it. And effectively just invested a lot of your personal time to paint miniature to be with this material. No, it's worse than resin. It's really worse than resin. So I don't really believe that 3D printing could potentially grow to the level of something like, wow, it's gonna be 50% of the market or whatever. No, I don't think so. Not for the wargaming. For other applications, there's a definitely spot for it, but not for the wargaming. I don't think so. Especially wargaming going into a bigger models, bigger miniatures, and so on. That require plastic. That basically require plastic. Why I'm saying this? Because somebody else was trying even to do that with PVC, thinking that PVC would be a great idea for wargaming and release a game called Star Wars First Edition. And first time I got models as a person who played war games, I was like, oh no, I'm not playing this shit. I just choked my models away. I don't want those models. I don't want to work with those so badly molded assembled miniatures. If I got bad miniature and I need to spend my personal time on painting bad miniature, I'm not gonna be happy at the end. So no. But what they did in the second edition, they moved into spruce. Why? Well, somebody make mistake and then correct it, you will say, yeah, okay, so they just admitted to make a mistake with the first edition, and that is the reason why you can see now everything being released on the spruce, because this is proper product. Right? Same goes for the 3D printing. Like Private Press did with War Machine. Come on, I used to play War Machine, many games. I won several tournaments even, but this idea about the 3D printing models, come on, just go on Facebook and scroll down and see how many people complain about that. Like, they have machines for doing mass production, those 3D prints, but they're so bad. It's unbelievable. Not the best idea. And then it's not only not the best idea from my opinion, but we spoke within the industry about this type of ideas, and everybody admit that was one of the worst ideas they had in terms of War Machine. And I think effectively this will kill War Machine. That's something I think we could potentially do with external guys, because we don't paint our miniatures internally. We have external guys who actually doing that. I think if we're going to plan to do a proper war game, we need that. And especially with Army Painter. Army Painter is the company which we love us, like us. We had some discussions about the common deals, what we can do together, and so on. And maybe we could, joint venture and do something together with that, like create the painting tutorials with the paints and so on. Anyway, no, we don't do any. We don't accept any investments. We are a small company, basically, and we self-sufficient. So kind of at the moment. I don't think the main problem is with like public companies is you lost total control over your company, and then you have to make things which are not good for gaming, wargaming, because then you have, you know, what's the name? You have accounting team running the business instead of actually people who wants to run the business. So just to give you idea, if accounting system was running the business here, last encounters, that big thing, this wouldn't be part of free. wouldn't be free for every backup, right? So this is huge cost to make it. I think in total, lots of thousands of dollars was actually to invest into this thing. But the accounting team will be saying, "You crazy? You did that? Come on, you should be charging somebody, even charge $10 for it." No, we did it for free. So that's the difference between running something by the accountant and not having control about your own company. Yeah. But thank you for the offer. Thank you for the offer. Yeah. Oh, that's other thing. Well, people don't mention the health hazard. The health hazard. Have a look on the specification of the cheapest resin you can get on the market. Have a look at the origin of this resin. Have a look. Then think about it in whether you're actually running with mask, ventilated room as you should. And then maybe in 5 years' time, don't be surprised if you're going to doctor with gonna tell you got a few months of life. I'm serious. I'm totally serious. We run 3D printing with Envision Tech company. So if you Google Envision Tech, you will know which company is it. And Envision Tech makes the best printer, but the most expensive 3D printers. When we had this one printer for many years, 7 years now, right? We've been running all the masters out of it. So the resin itself, it's extremely expensive. We pay 350 euros for kilogram of resin. And I asked once the question, why I have to pay that much money for the resin? So, and I have a full email coming from the lab test guys out there say, look, we give you resin which don't give you cancer, right? Which is not allergic, you can work with it, and so on. He just pointed out all the thingies, and he said, you can go and buy resin for $50 or $40, but don't be surprised if you get allergies straight away. Don't be surprised if you're gonna have a health problem and things like that. To make a good resin, which is cured under UV light, you have to buy expensive sub-products, not something cheap. And people don't know that, so, you know. Would you consider a junior editing for younger players? So a self-contained RPG for starters kit, something like Robin and Band facing as Raven. I never thought about that. Never really thought about that, just to get younger guys to start it. We had like a game we wanted to do, kind of semi-RPG game with building your own dungeon and so on in mind. Just, you know, few months ago when we had, you know, creative discussion about the future projects. We skipped that one, only the reason that we would have to go for 100% retail release, which at the moment we only want to focus on the miniatures models for the retail releases. But we had some discussion about it internally, but not yet. Maybe this is something we should explore, because there's other side of it. We could potentially start getting, you know, sending this one to schools and things like that. Have some programs with, you know, gaming school clubs or school RPG clubs where we can actually send some pieces of our product when they can actually, you know, get kids to play it. Why not? Something to my team to actually come up with some ideas. Not yet. Spell effect, yes. We had some idea for spell effects, but not with this campaign. I think the terrain campaign will be much better for spell effects. And now we have this clear plastic technology, which allows us to actually make a lot of things. So yeah. Yes, we might add some elements. And how our sprues are designed is whenever we have some small room to add some elements, we keep adding them. So definitely with this campaign, because we're gonna be so many miniatures, we might add some small bits you can attach to the flat base if you're using your own flat base, obviously. Flat base and use that way. One of the reasons why we didn't was that we were providing bases with texture. right? So you get all those bases with texture through that. So there was no really need for that. And those elements and those small bits usually are used on a flat base to, if you have the same pose of miniature, but you put additional element there, it will just basically looks different, right? To the other one. I mean, just breaking a little bit of the shape of the miniature and everything. So yeah. Yeah. That's the good idea. I'm gonna think about that. Some introduction pack. Maybe we could have a chat with Armor Painter and create small starting pack for kids with a miniature, which is like book and play miniature, 1 or 2, and then a few pieces of terrain, like 1 room, and paints, like 2-3 paints, paintbrush, something like that. Because then you introduce not only to introduce the entire hobby, right? You introduce to, hey, this is miniatures, you can assemble them, you can paint them, or you can assemble your own dungeon, and then you can play it. Okay. We will see what we can do. Right, I've got some picture to show you. This. I know it's silly. It is silly. That was the biggest challenge. That was our biggest challenge. We are extremely proud of this task, and as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, that it was the biggest challenge. That was the biggest challenge for this company. It was just like another crazy idea, just to get my team to learn something new, and without knowing whether the team, well, I was 100% convinced and convenient that we actually going to deliver this one, but I wasn't sure how much it will take for my team to actually learn the skill needed for this model to be real. So really happy. You see, I'm happy because of engineering. I'm simple man. I'm happy about the production engineering and injection of this bad boy, but then just having it's just wow moment with Jesus Christ. I've never seen anything like that in my life. Yeah, other companies are not doing large models like that. So yeah, cool. Okay, let me just I will see with my team. I will have a chat with my team about one thing. What we could do is, because the spruce already being designed for those lab, right? We have already 1 spruce, 2nd spruce being cut now. We're gonna be much more faster with this Kickstarter than any other Kickstarter in terms of miniatures, right? Maybe even when we start the Kickstarter, we're gonna be showing you 3 or 4 spruce already and physical, plastic injection miniatures, because we are so ahead with the release schedule now. But maybe in the future spruce, when we have a little bit of room, and then we didn't fully full the thingy, we will add some small bits and bobs there for you to use. That would be great as well. I think that would be great as well. You will find about 5 or 10 different pieces added to previous Kickstarter encounters on spruce, which were not part of the Kickstarter, and we add them because we had them, and also because there was room on spruce. Yeah, it's some including like large bits, not only tiny like large bits, right? Yeah. Right, it's taking a little bit long. My throat is just start killing me. we always the chat is good because chat gives us a lot of ideas. Always lots of ideas. I remember, you have to bear in mind, every single Kickstarter we run, we always ask on Facebook what you guys would like to see, and then we deeply analyze what the people said, and from that we have several different great ideas. Even if I remember correctly, I don't want to offend anyone who actually come up with these ideas, but I think the idea of sewers was extremely pushed by the Facebook comments. And not only that, several other ideas were coming from there as well. So we always listen to you guys, because at the end of the day, you have to listen to your customers, what they want to see. So, for instance, the idea about the about the classic creatures was actually coming from our miniatures distributor. They said, well, guys, you're making so many great stuff, but you're not making classic stuff. I was like, okay, you're right, we're actually not making any classic miniatures. Why won't we just use this idea of making classic, our version of obviously of classic, not classic like we're gonna be, breaking some IP thingy craziness, but our version of classic miniatures, and let's take it there. Let's put up there and see how this one goes. Yeah. Right. Okie dokie. I think it's about time to finish. Thank you very much for joining me. It's been an hour and 40 minutes. Jesus Christ. I hope you lasted for that long. I wasn't boring. I hope you're painting miniatures at the same time when I talk. And we will see how, yeah. And if you haven't signed up for the new campaign, sign up for the new campaign, guys, and then you won't be disappointed, that's for sure. I'm not disappointed, so that's very, very important. And we have a lot. I haven't shown this. Oh. I have this one prepared. Oh well. I've got it. It's in plastic, right? So we already have it manufactured. So it also other thing is which we currently quite ahead in manufacturing of our own products. So eventually we want to get into at least 3-4 months ahead with injection and everything else. So we have already packed ready to release, and we just announce, okay, this is the release, and this is what we have. And that's in terms of retail release. Okay, I'm about to finish. So if you have any more questions, drop me. If not, join me in 2 weeks' time, 2 or 3. Okay, I need to gather enough materials for the nice update, and maybe 3 weeks, because 3 weeks will be exactly the time when we're going to start shipping. And I want to show you some pictures and so on and so on and so on. Okay, I'll have a chat with my team when it's going to be the best time to run this again, or maybe somebody else from my team will be running this time around. I would like to get them also involved, break some barriers, because it's only myself here, and if you have more questions about the home, they could be able to answer those things. Squad, definitely dwarves. I've seen some dwarves, and some, yeah. Squads. Sorry, squads. Oh yeah, quite a lot. I don't have a number for you, but definitely there's a good number of it. I can prepare this one for next week, because I've got loads of concept. I haven't shown you those things, but I will do that next week for the next for the next live, for the next summer. Okay, guys, have a good one. We need Robin. We're going to have Robin. We're gonna have Robin, that's for sure. Robin is a part of Dungeon Lasers, and it's not going nowhere. And kobolds in the trench coats as well, we're gonna have them. So, wow. Okay. Will Wolfenstein Miniatures pack be available? I don't know. I don't think so. They're part of the Kickstarter. I think we don't gonna be having them like as separate things. Thank you as well. Thank you for joining me. Hope you lasted that long. How many miniatures per squad? I think 5. I think the global number is 5, but you're gonna get like the idea was you're gonna get 2 the same bodies, and then like a kind of mirror bodies, and the third one individual. So, but then arms, heads, everything is just fully changeable, like flexible. So if you buy 10 and assemble them, every single one will be assembled differently. Yeah, they will look differently. Okay, thank you guys, and drop the questions. Go on Discord, drop the questions there as well. I will get them answered during next AMA. And yeah, stay tuned, have a nice weekend, recharge your batteries, sign up, subscribe if you're not yet already to the channel, just to get notification about the next live stream, and we're gonna be in touch next time. Thank you. Bye bye.